two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn, on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, Facebook, YouTube, and when we are done, we will be live and permanently up on Spotify. Happy day after Thanksgiving.
Happy Black Friday.
Welcome to a special Friday edition, and today is so special because we have on comedian Drew Dunn.
Hello.
Welcome, Drew.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We
We
so
gotta do
excited.
like a drum roll. We've got Drew Dunn in the house. Yes.
That's the best of our
Dun,
impressions.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, we don't do impressions.
Very well. We do them. They're just
That's-
not very
yeah.
Facial expressions better, but
That's good for radio, yeah.
yes.
Exactly.
So welcome and thank you for being here today. We're
Of course.
excited to have you.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
All right, so where are you playing while you're here?
I'm playing at the Nashua Center for the Arts. That's tomorrow, the 30th at 8 p.m. It's going to be a fun show. I got a lot of my friends that are all touring comics that are back in town for the holidays.
Nice.
And we're going to put on a fun show. So, yeah,
That's
I'm
excellent.
excited.
And there's a few seats still left on the
Yeah,
balcony.
still a few balcony seats left, so grab them while you can. Yeah, we almost sold it out. Last year was the first year we did it, and we're hoping to make it an annual thing. And it is the night of the holiday stroll, so it's going to be a little crazy down here on Main Street, but
Yes.
it adds to the chaos.
Yeah, bring your walking shoes and park somewhere else.
Yes.
Right? When
Yeah.
you come.
100%, yeah. Find street parking, look somewhere else. Don't text me night of and ask me where to park. Plan ahead right now.
I'm not
Right.
answering these
Right.
texts. I'm not answering
Nope.
these texts.
There's got to be a bus, we can catch one at the mall or something. I don't know
Yeah,
where.
they are doing shuttles, I think, from Holman and Revere that you can like go park there, and then they have like shuttle
Oh,
services
really?
that bring people down to Main Street. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. That's a great idea. But bring your walking shoes because you're going to
So
be
I
walking
did not realize that holiday stroll was tonight.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be hosting that?
I'm not sure. I think we might have agreed to something.
Somebody's going to be looking through texts later today.
Well,
That's
I
Yes,
fine.
think
we
we
are.
were supposed to be setting up live downstairs, and I was like, I don't have an outfit for that.
That's
so.
the problem when you make plans too far in advance. It
Yeah.
sounds fantastic, and then you get closer and you're like, what did I say I would
Yeah,
do?
you're like, that doesn't say something. It's going to rain? No, I don't think we want to do
Is
Right.
it going to rain? It's 2 days after Thanksgiving. Don't have to put up my tree. I don't
Right,
know.
like, did I do
Yeah.
that? Did I say that?
So you are originally from New Hampshire or from Boston?
So I was born in Boston. I was born in like Jamaica Plain area, just outside Boston, and then lived in like New Hampshire a little bit before I moved to the West Coast. Lived in Seattle for like kindergarten through 6th grade, just outside Seattle, and then moved back and been in Nashua since 2004 until I moved to New York in 2021.
So no LA.
No LA. No, I went back and forth between trying to choose where I was going to go because I knew I was going to go somewhere.
With comedy.
Yeah,
as
with comedy being the vehicle for that. And LA just it just kind of sucks. Honestly, it's just not fun. It just feels very fake and very
pretentious.
You have to really go for the industry out there. You have to really want to be an actor and try and be the person that other people want to pick. And I'm not interested in that. That's not why I got into stand-up. So I wanted to be a comedian, and that's where New York really thrives. I mean, there's just no place like it. There's a million comedy clubs. There's so many shows. It's just feels like you're doing the right thing when you're there.
Yeah, and I feel like, I grew up in Boston. I grew up in Somerville.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone lives in Somerville at some time. When they're in Boston, it seems like someone's had an apartment in Somerville at one time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I loved about it was you could see really great comedians. I saw so many, Bill Burr,
Yeah.
Dane
yeah.
Cook. We had Comics Come Home, which we
Yeah.
talked about. And, you'd go every November and you would sit and just see comedian after comedian after comedian. And we used to, every date was the Kowloon.
Yeah.
You'd go to comedy at the Kowloon.
Yeah,
And that's how you would know if this person's going to be your date or not, if like they don't laugh the same way you do at the same
Right.
things. You're like, not going to work out. So
Yeah.
that was
right.
like the pass.
That's,
Yeah.
that's the litmus
first pass.
test.
You know, a little bit miniature golf. Okay, this was great, but we got to go to Kowloon's.
Right. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they still do comedy shows at the Kowloon too. I when I was first starting, I was doing shows there all the time, and then when I'm back in town, I do it at least like once a year or so. I'll go do the show there in the attic of the Kowloon. It's,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't. Hopefully they keep doing it. I know there's a lot of question marks on what's going on with them if they're going to stay open or anything, but I hope they do. That place is a staple, and the wings are delicious. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And they have great
I've never
Chinese
been.
food.
I've
Yeah.
never been, and I would like to go.
We should go and see a comedy show.
Yes, let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's do it. I'm down.
yeah.
She
do it
is
tomorrow.
originally from Virginia.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I
I've
use
been-
her for Southern sayings.
Nice.
So I think comedy has a specificity of place. Like,
Okay.
you know, everything doesn't land everywhere the same way,
Totally.
depending on, you know, where you're from.
Your
Yeah.
demographics.
Yeah, we're very sarcastic, I
Yeah,
believe, up here. And then you
definitely.
go some places and you're saying something sarcastically and they're taking you literally and then
Right.
you're having to explain yourself.
Exactly.
So some things don't go over.
But
They're just staring at you, blinking with like tears coming out of your eyes. Like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, I was just
No.
kidding, man.
right,
It's
totally,
like, no,
totally.
it's like-
Yeah, and that's for me as like when it comes to stand up, that's like part of the fun. Is like if I just went up there knowing the act would work every time, I would feel like a clown after like a week where I'm like, all right, here's the squeaky nose and the big shoes, and here's the big finale. Like, the fun is what's the optimal thing I can put together for this crowd, and then try and play as you go and make adjustments and changes to try and put on the best show every night. And it's not going to be the same every night. Yeah, that's the fun. Is always kind of having something different, because that's the risk. The reward of comedy is like, is this going to work? And then it does. That's the fun. That's
Yeah.
what keeps me coming back, rather than just the reaction itself.
yeah.
So we've talked to a few comedians, and do you plan? Are you more? What's your best arena to operate in? Do you go ahead of time and kind of get a vibe, a feel of the people and the place, and curtail your? Or do you just feel like I'm improv, or like I'm just gonna wing it?
Yeah, I usually don't like scan the crowd beforehand, unless like I'm going later on the show and there's acts before me, and I just want to make sure that there's not any problem areas or people that are talking or anything like that. But for the most part, I like to just go on stage and just be present in the moment on stage and react in that moment. And usually I get to a show about a half hour before, try and hang out, talk with comics in the green room. That helps to kind of get the juices flowing and get everything going. And then I think the less thinking, the better sometimes. A lot of times, especially when I first started, I was making lists of these are my jokes and I'm going to do this order. And you kind of get stuck in a certain mode of this works, I can't change this, I know this works, rather than kind of changing and adapting. So the more kind of play I let myself have up there, the more fun it is. And that's
Yeah.
the fun thing about these and friend shows that I'm doing is I host and close the show. So I'm on stage the whole show. So I'll do some time in between. I have a lot more opportunities to kind of riff off of what somebody said or have moments with the crowd or whatever, and then kind of have that refined set at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard. I think it's really hard for certain people can't. They have a certain skit per se instead of like reading the room or just finding an energy, or you hear something and you like you can expand on that and
Yeah.
go. It's a talent.
Yeah, to me, I think the best shows are a balance of both, because if you go up there with nothing and just try and riff your way through, you're going to run out of steam in like 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
everyone's going to be like, what's this guy talking about?
Yeah.
This
Like,
is an angry soliloquy.
yeah, he's still talking about Jell-O. It's like, move on, dude. He's got nothing.
Right.
Yeah, I think the fun. I kind of like think of it as like a choose your own adventure book, where I'm like, I start the path, and then from there I have 3 options on where I can go from that joke, and then I choose from there, and I can kind of always adapt, and then from there there's infinite kind of possibilities on what the set could look like at the end. So you could come see me one night and see one show, and then see the next night. You might see 20 minutes of the same jokes, but they're going to be in a different order, and it'll be kind of a different experience
Yeah.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So when did you decide? When and how did you decide that you were going to be? Hey, this is it.
Yeah, so I mean, I always loved stand-up comedy. I first got introduced to stand-up comedy when we moved back from Seattle. So when we moved back to Nashville, we drove, and so I'm one of 7 kids. At the time, there was 5 of us.
In
It
the
was-
car.
It was a van.
Was it like a? I was gonna say like a station wagon
Yeah,
or like.
it was a van full of 5 kids, 2 parents, and a cat. And
We all lived. We all made it to the end.
Yeah, we all made it to the end. It took 5 days to get across the country, but my dad had bought all these Comedy Central like CDs, and we were just listening to comedy. There was no podcast back then. You're trying to find local radio stations as you go.
Yeah.
It was like, so we were just listening to all these comedy albums over and over again, and I just fell in love with it, and I started watching specials and always thought about doing it, but I was always like, that's later in life. I was so focused on baseball. That was my focus when I was younger, was I wanted to be a baseball player. I went to college and played a little bit, and then ended up getting hurt and like going into my senior year, had to quit, and then 2 weeks later started doing stand-up comedy.
Wow.
So that kind of letting baseball go was kind of that thing that let me jump into something brand new with 2 feet. I knew I wasn't going to be able to just work a job and be a normal person. That wasn't ever an option for my brain. So jumping into this new impossible task was like really fun and exciting, and I was good at it, and it was always something I liked. I was always kind of the funny one and joking around, and it was fun to kind of get rewarded for misbehavior.
Yeah.
And getting are you the person who will kind of be like, you know, do anything for the laugh? Are you the person who's like, okay, I have to get this laugh?
I'm more like watching the class clown and whispering something funny to my friend in the back of the room.
But you didn't need all the attention.
No, I was never like the attention. I was scared to, like, I was the kid and we're presenting PowerPoints and I'm shaking them at the paper. I was never a public speaker or anything like that. I was pretty shy. But when I'm with my close group of friends, I would open up. So for me, it was like, how do I take this person that I am kind of in private and show it publicly? And now with that, instead of just walking up to a group of people and being like, hey, let's put myself out there, with stand-up being that like platform to do it, it's just like, oh yeah, of course. Well, now I can be as silly as I want right away, and it's allowed and it's encouraged.
And everyone's agreed that this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and these are the rules. The rules are there's no rules. You can do whatever you want.
Right. Yeah. Did you have, so you have 7, you're one of 7.
One of 7, yeah.
And do you always felt like you had an audience because you had your family?
Totally. Well, it wasn't always a good audience. It was.
They were a rough crowd.
Yeah, it was a rough crowd for a lot of years.
It's got to be good content, man. You know, it's the pickings are like.
Totally. Well, and I think a lot of it was just kind of you're fighting for your life. You know, you're fighting as much as you're fighting for attention. You're fighting for like my brother said something mean. I got something mean to say too. You know, like you kind of always needed something in the tank to survive in a house of five boys. Really, it was the house growing up too. The girl didn't come till number 6, and there's like a 13-year gap between 5 and 6. So yeah.
So you really were a babysitter.
Yeah, I really was. Yeah. If mom and dad wanted to get Chili's 2 for $20, then I had to watch the kids for a few hours. Yeah.
Changing diapers again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh, that's funny. So where was your first professional gig? So
yeah, I guess my first ever show I did was an open mic down in Cambridge at a place called the Middle East. They did a show on Tuesdays. I just heard about it from my buddy Josh Bates, who's actually a fellow of Nashua South graduate, who he was doing stand-up at Boston University, and he was one of those guys that I was like, man, I never thought Josh would do comedy. Like, let me go check out a show, watch the show. And if you've ever been to an open mic, I don't know if either of you have, but you would feel confident in your ability to do stand-up after watching an open mic.
Dude, we should do that one night.
Yeah, that would be fun. Please invite me. So I went and did that next open. I didn't know how open mics worked. I showed up late. I was like the 30th comic on the show. I went on at like 1 a.m. That was my first ever show. And it was like the 5 family members that came to support me, and like a drunk guy at the bar, and the host of the show, and my friend that were left at the show. And then my first like real show in front of like an actual audience, I was working at the UMass Lowell Inn and Conference Center as a waiter at the time. And they have all these kind of function rooms, and they were doing comedy in one of the function rooms, and my buddy was the manager. I'd done maybe 3 shows at this time, and he was like, hey, my friend's a comedian, can he do some time on the show? And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I barely remember my jokes. And he's like, yeah, sure. So there's like 80 to 90 people that I had just served dinner and like hopefully didn't spill a glass of wine on anybody. And then now I'm on stage taking my name tag off right before they introduce me. I do 5 minutes on working at Walmart. That was all I had at the time. And got some real laughs from real people. And from there I was like hooked. That was that was the thing I needed all the time. Yeah.
So are you nervous when you get up there, or do you feel like you've done it so much?
It's kind of when you first start, you're so nervous. You're like change into a different person nervous. Like your brain doesn't work. That's how nervous you are, where you're just trying to remember that stupid joke you wrote, and now you can't even remember the first word to it.
Right.
In the right
order.
order.
Now you're panicking, and then you come to the mic and it all came back. Oh, thank gosh. So Nerves now, I definitely still get nervous because I kind of thrive on that energy. I want that anxiety. I don't need a beer before the show or anything. I want to be kind of feeling that because I think it's fun to go out there with like a ready to go energy. I want it to happen. So yeah, I just want it to go well. That's the thing I'm nervous about, I guess. But I kind of know it will. In the back of my mind, that's the thing I put forward. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. I know what I'm gonna say. I know what I'm gonna open with. I know they're gonna love this part. Even if they hate that, they'll love this. So it's like kind of having that confidence, I think, negates that early nerves that because you don't have any confidence when you first start. You don't have anything to be like, no, you got. I don't know if I got it. I really could I could blank and stare at them for 5 minutes and walk off. That could totally happen. Where now I know that's not gonna happen. So. There's at least, I think, a level that you get to of just being of competent at what you do that you can improvise and figure it out. So there's still a level of nerves that I want it to be great. I want it to be kind of next level and awesome and nail all those little crossroads and choose the right path, the optimal path. And sometimes you don't. But yeah, that's what I'm more nervous for is like, can I kill this? Can I nail this thing or not? Yeah.
It sounds like you do a lot of visualizing.
Definitely. Yeah.
And just even that confidence in the visualizing and just saying like preparing and almost manifesting the fact that you're going to have a great show or you're going to be able to, it's almost like you're planting that seed of confidence, even though we don't feel it sometimes.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
I feel like you're saying, yeah, I can go this way, this way, and this way. And I think the more comfortable, you were just saying that you just MC an event, in between sets and stuff. And I think that gets you a little more relaxed in front of the microphone and in front of people.
Well, and I think part of that too is that was a learned skill for me. It was a learned skill for me to be able to kind of. And there's been plenty of moments along this way where I haven't had that confidence, where it's disappeared, where things haven't gotten my way, and I've questioned everything. Am I even in the right career? Am I doing the right kind of stuff, But I think forcing yourself to believe in yourself is, like, really hard. But the more you do that, the more you can talk about manifesting and all that kind of stuff. But the reality of the situation is you will act on stuff if you feel like you have a reason to act on stuff.
Yes.
So if you instill yourself a reason to do something, you're going to make something happen.
Yes.
Whether it's the universe doing it or your own two hands, something's going to happen if you force yourself to do it. Period.
Well, it's to me the manifestation. I think there's a lot of different words for it, but it is that belief. It's that belief system. It's a deep-seated belief, like.
Yeah.
That's how I got really good at putting.
Yeah.
Our last show,
She keeps telling me the PGA is going to call me any minute. I'm going to be
I
out of
get
this
on the
radio
course
show.
with you. I gotta get some tricks from you with putting because I stink.
Wait, do you like golf? All right,
I've gotten into golf a lot ever since I quit baseball. I needed some other physical thing to also stink at.
I'm just thinking to be aggravated with myself every
always.
single week.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. But actually, so what funny, so I had just texted her the other day. We've been surprised that the golf courses are still open.
Yeah.
And so every sunny day, we're like, yeah. And I said to her, we're like the Beverly Hillbillies when we go because we've got a blanket, we've got a cooler,
a heater,
we've got lunches, we've got hand warmers, we've got the neck wrap things that you can get for your face. I've got my gloves that you can take off quick so I can, I tried to swing with the club with the gloves. No, it does not work.
Yeah.
No mittens can't help the placement.
No, but so we have a golf simulator at the office, which should be up and running again. The office flooded, so they had to be redone.
Oh man.
But last weekend, my husband's like, "Hey, do you want to run over to the office with me? I've got something to show you." And I was like, "Ooh, what does that mean? We're gonna have like a quickie at the office?
The office is done. Let's have a quickie
date night because everybody's at the house.
Right.
Or like we shaking things up. Like what are we doing? What has he got a surprise for me? Well, it was some cabinets. He's like, "Do you want these? Because we might be able to use them." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then
that's when you know you've been together a long time.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like I am turned on. I do like the cabinets.
Yeah.
I do. I was like, "Hey, wait, you're thinking about me because you're thinking about where they're going to go in my house?" I'm like, "All right, I'm so down with that." So then we're on our way home, and I'm like, he takes the exit to go to Manchester. I'm like, "Where are we going?" He's like, "To get a TV." If you know my husband, we have like, she just saw it. We just put a 70-inch TV in our bedroom.
Wow.
Which I'm 50-ish. And I've never had a TV in my bedroom. And I'm like.
And you went right to 70 inches.
Well, it was the one that was downstairs. Yes. because we had to go 80 inches downstairs.
Go big or go home.
I know.
Yeah.
We literally have like 3 80-inch TVs in our house.
Yeah, you can make a whole room out of them.
Yes.
Just-
So the reason why we got the TV is because winter's coming, and if we don't want to go over to the office to do the golf simulator, we just got Mario Golf.
Okay.
Yes.
On the Nintendo Switch, and that'll be your new golf simulator.
Yes.
That's amazing.
For home.
That's awesome.
Oh, we've already had. I just.
Do you want to
clubbed
hang
up.
out? You can bring your baby. We've
Yeah.
got some cats.
Yes.
Bring your wife and kid. We're gonna golf
Right.
simulator.
Yeah.
Just back and playing. We got it all squared away for
Perfect,
you.
perfect.
Yes. Literally, we've had tournaments. And so my son and my husband, they just, if you get like 1,000 points, then you can get a new set of clubs.
Okay.
So I just clubbed up. So I went upstairs to get ready because we were leaving to go to Lisa's house yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and so yesterday morning we were playing. You know, you figure
This is
like,
why they were late. Everyone was late to my Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm trying to keep
Well, there was a
artichoke
big
dip
tournament
warm.
happening.
Yeah.
I think you need to be more understanding of what was on the line.
Yes.
If they had told me, I wouldn't have put the artichoke dip in.
So I said, I've got 5 more minutes and I've got to go get ready. And he's like, come on. I'm like, all right, I won't do this. I won't do that.
I won't do my hair.
No, I won't. Yes. I'll shortcut this. I won't do this. Anyway, so I went upstairs to get ready. He screenshot and texted me that I just got my new clubs. So I was like, oh, I missed my victory dance. But anyway, so we like golf too.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I just had my first golf game with them last year. God, am I brutal?
Yeah.
I was a softball player.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, it's a lot of bad habits to fix coming from baseball or softball. Yeah, it's
and I'm like, how
crazy.
can I miss a ball that's not moving?
Yeah,
How many
it's
times can
insane.
I miss a ball
Totally.
that's not moving?
Totally.
And my husband was like, all right, that's enough of that. You've missed that 6 times. We're moving on to the next hole, you know? So I went to go to Golf Galaxy and get a lesson.
Yeah.
And so everything I did was wrong. And he's like, okay, but you haven't been golfing for a long time, so we're going to undo that really quick.
Yeah.
And he did. He had me swinging straight.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I went to the driving range this year. You know, I take one lesson in June. I go to the range in October. The driving range.
I'm sure you held on to all those lessons.
I was hitting it straight.
Okay.
Somewhat. Some of them were going to the right, but I was hitting them straight. And like 125.
Great.
Like, okay, that's something.
Yeah.
That was better than missing.
Right.
But then the next 2 days, I couldn't move my whole right side of my body. I'm like, I don't use any of these muscles, but apparently yesterday I was using a lot of neck. There was a
Okay.
lot- there was a
yeah.
lot of neck
a lot of
going.
a lot of throwing the neck into it. That's
Yes,
what they
you
say
gotta-
about golf. They say it's all in the neck.
Yes.
I'm going to be fantastic. I couldn't move for 2 days.
You can
More
gain
lessons.
20 more yards if you just hold that neck still.
Yep.
It is good, but it is challenging. But what I've been doing is visualizing my ball, you know, because a lot of times when you're on the green and you can see, you know, you're lining up your putt.
Yeah.
I just kind of stare at it and like, okay, where's my line?
Right,
I'm trying
right.
to read the green, and a lot of times I've just been. Well, Amherst Country Club, I think, is horrible greens, but
Yeah.
it's inconsistent. They're shaggy and they never fall to the cup.
Totally. Yeah.
They're all like arms out.
Yeah.
There's all grass.
It's like a lot of
pushing-
fringe, and all
pushing
of a
it away.
sudden, it's like the ball is literally on the lip, and it goes.
Yeah, and then they'll put every hole on like the knuckle. It's just like
Yes.
it's all on the crown of a hill.
Yes.
It's
And you're like,
great.
how did you manage to put it here?
But so
Yeah.
what I've
We're
been
talented.
doing
We're
is
New England.
visualizing it.
Everything is difficult in New England.
true.
Everything is difficult in New England.
That is true.
PGA Tour, don't worry about it. Come to New England. How to
Yeah.
play. Have Tiger play on this. Let's see how great he
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Can you hit out of a 9-foot divot? I'd love
Yes.
to see it.
Listen, I took
You
my
walk
three.
and you lose a
I took
shoe.
my 3 hybrid and hit it out of the sand for 125 yards
Yeah.
to land it on the green, and I'm like, I'm making this bar.
Yeah.
I did. When I said to her, I'm like, I got bragging rights. So there's a hole, like hole 11 on the back at Amherst Country Club.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a little bit of a dog leg, and it's uphill. Dog leg to the left. It's a little bit uphill. The
Yeah.
green is, but
It's a drivable par 4.
yes.
Yeah, that was the first hole I ever got at Eagle on. Was that hole? As I drove that green and then putted it in. Yeah, I know which one you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah.
Okay. So I landed in the sand on the left side of the green, and I'm like, screw it. I'm going to trip it.
Yeah.
I chipped it, and it went right in the hole.
Oh,
There's
that's
my eagle.
awesome. That's amazing.
And I was like, yes.
yeah.
And then I forgot what it was. It was like eagle, birdie, par.
I have it on text message. You were very
birdie
proud.
or something like that. And I was like, damn. And I said to her, tell John, because I'm like, I'm not sure she's going to know the language, but she'll read it.
Yeah, right.
And his response was, I'm not betting against her anymore. Okay. My money's no longer on Chris, which is her husband.
That's awesome.
But it does come from having a belief system, like in,
So I'm going to try
really
that
bad.
next time.
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah,
And I keep saying to both of my boys, you should try it. You should try it.
totally. Yeah.
Visualize it. Know that you're just going to make that shot. And sometimes I will drop another ball. Like if nobody's, we don't play so serious.
Right.
I will drop a ball if I really screw it up. And then I drop a ball and I'm like, okay, I can crush it.
Yeah, right.
Your second
right.
ball is always the best ball.
Totally.
After
totally.
jungle juice that you've been drinking all day, you might need to, we're
I
not
mean,
going to find that
yes.
ball.
That's what golf's really about.
Yes.
Is having a couple of beverages outside on a nice day or a
Yes.
cold day. It doesn't
Yes.
matter what day it is, as long as you're outside with alcohol and friends.
Yes.
And you happen to hit a ball every once in a while.
Yes.
And then say you got some birdies and some pars and feel good about it.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
go home.
Yes.
See, and that's what I feel about fishing. We're on a boat. We're on a lake.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually, someone will catch something or not.
Yeah,
Right.
And
Exactly.
This is the point. We are doing the thing.
totally.
This is the thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, we did get a lot more serious this year about it because we have not brought the speaker this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because we used to just be playing. Like, I have a couple of TikToks that we got the same cart, and it's like a diesel one, and it's like
Yeah.
slow going up the hill, and we're both doing like this, and literally the next weekend we get the same one, and I'm like, Chris, it's the same one.
Oh, my
So I
gosh.
did a little TikTok video.
But they're like, maybe if it doesn't go up the hill, these two will go home because they're playing speakers
Yeah,
loud.
right.
Nobody on the golf course likes that.
Yeah.
Well, I
Came
and
here
here's-
for the sound of birds and nature. We're listening to Jelly Roll again.
Yes. drop it low. We've had some fun on the golf course. So like, never take life too serious.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so you've taken up golf instead of baseball as
Yeah.
just something physical to do.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's mentally challenging, and I mean, and baseball and all sports I think are similar to comedy in a lot of ways, where it is like a lot of little adjustments and trying to make it better for next time. And like in golf, it's like you could suck all day, and then you could have that one hit
And it
that
makes it.
Yeah.
hits it on the green, and then you're fueled for the next year of golf, and you
Yeah.
have to spend thousands of dollars and
You're like, I'm
suck
coming
it
back.
anyway,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like that. I mean, there's so many times where you write a new joke and it stinks, and you write another one, it doesn't work, and this one doesn't work, and then you finally have that new one, or you do these shows and you finally have that great show that's amazing, and that kind of makes up for all these crappy bar shows or half full Wednesday nights that you've done leading up to these things. So, yeah, it's a lot of little adjustments and trying to get better every time.
So what was your job? What were you doing before you decided to say, okay, this is it. I'm going all in on me.
Yeah, so I was working at the UMass Lowell Inn and Conference Center for a while. I worked kind of my way around there. I was like a waiter, a bartender, then I managed banquets and did like some marketing for them and stuff like that. And then
Is that what your degree is in?
Yeah, my degree's in marketing, yeah. And then I graduated. I worked there for like maybe a year, and then I started working admissions for Southern New Hampshire University. So I was working up in the mills in Manchester doing like graduate interviews for like people trying to get into the graduate program. And
were you giving everyone a hard time when they came through? Like, were you
No,
kind of jokester in it? Like, did you bring?
No, it was not the best job. I don't want to talk smack about them, but if you filled out the form correctly and sent in the forms, congratulations, you were getting a master's degree.
Wait, is that still applied?
Yeah, go on.
You want a master's?
Yeah.
What do you want your master's in?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. As long as
Fill
you
in
have
the
a
form,
master's, it
fill in
doesn't
the
matter
form.
what it's in.
Yes.
Yeah. You got it. You
Wait,
got,
now we're
you
you got
patting
the
our
money,
resume.
right?
Yeah,
You got the
we're
money. Put the money in the bag,
Yeah.
and we'll get you the degree.
Good to know. Good to know. You always learn something very useful on our show.
Totally.
Absolutely.
So it was just kind of your traditional office cubicle farm environment that I did not thrive in. And at first, they kind of allowed for you to be yourself and be creative on calls and talk to people the way you wanted. And then they kept bringing in consultants and becoming more and more regimented and just kind of corporate. That I basically had a script that I was allowed to talk to people with, and
we love hearing the script on the other end of the
oh,
phone.
Everybody loves it. Everybody loves a non-personal message from somebody. It totally makes you not hang up immediately when I go, "Good afternoon." Immediately.
Click.
Yeah.
I'm not
But
a
some of those are
robo
recorded
voice.
so well right now.
So
like,
many
you
of
don't
them are
even know.
AI now.
You
It's
don't
crazy.
know if it is or not.
Yeah.
You know, because if you answer and they take another click to answer you back, you know that it's registering your voice as a voice, and you're
or
just
if
thinking,
they
Well,
don't
that
really
and
answer my question.
How those calls would work is it's a dialer system. So a robot is the one dialing the number, and then right when you would say hello, it would come to me. So I would right when you would be like there, I would hear your hello, and I would already be on the phone with you.
Oh,
so
okay.
it would be like the robot's calling you, but now I'm here. So that's
okay.
how a lot of those things work. That or their AI or robots. LOL.
Oh my God.
I'll call you again.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Can you call and leave that on my voicemail, and I'll just listen to it whenever I need to pick me up?
No,
Lisa,
you need to.
Lisa.
No, you need to have him leave.
You're
in a
doing
private-
great. You can do it.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
LOL, JK.
Can you like call my phone and leave a voicemail and like Donald Trump's voice is telling like how wonderful I am?
She's so wonderful. We love this lady.
So what you need to do
As
is
the robot?
Yes, talk
A
to
robot Donald Trump.
use Donald Trump's
what a
voice to tell
great
Joe
day.
Rogan that he needs to come on our show.
Joe Rogan. There's a lot of things that need to get done in this country, but one thing that needs to happen is you got to come on this radio show. It's going to be so great. You're going to make this radio show great again. Robyn and Lisa are on the mic, and there's an open seat, Joe. We'd love to have you, Joe.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. We could just listen to you all day. Like,
Oh my God.
Yes, we could listen. So who else do you do?
I mean, I don't do a lot of like people as much as I just kind of when I hear something and do it.
You do a
I
good
wanna
British
do it.
accent.
I do a good British accent as well, which means I can also do David Attenborough from the Planet Earth series. Nashua, New Hampshire.
You could definitely start, narrating some of these people that walk down the
let me tell you,
screaming like a lunatic in their shorts and cowboy boots.
Oh
the Nashua local.
She's got her cowboy boots on and like fur leopard boxer shorts, and she's screaming at everybody. And she's got her pillow.
The fur leopard boxer shorts tell you that it's mating season.
And things are running hot.
She begins her call for a mate. Damien! Let's listen closely.
Dude, we
And see
literally
if he
heard her down at
returns
the
her
pizza
call.
place. Oh my God, that is so funny. So when you get together with your siblings, do you guys go at it? Do you have anybody else in your any of your siblings that you guys just do banter back and forth?
All my
with
siblings are funny. It's like when we're in a group together, it's insane. It's we're doing like a Friendsgiving or family, all brother. We have to do a Friendsgiving because there's so many of us. Kind of get together at one of my brother's house, and yeah, it's just gonna be insanity. It's gonna be a bunch of us just talking smack back and forth, talking trash about our parents growing up. And
Yes. This is the best. This is the best memories.
So I
Exactly.
really haven't heard a lot lot about your parents
Yeah.
going on. The only thing I heard was the cult leader
Yeah.
one, which I really, really liked.
Yeah, the woo whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, and then
true.
starting a family is like starting your own cults. you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was. I mean, it's both my parents are from the Boston area. So my dad was from Cambridge. My mom's from Jamaica Plain, and my dad's a software engineer. And when you have that many kids, my mom was a stay-at-home mom most of her life. She worked as like a paraprofessional for a few years. She always had a soft spot with people with disabilities. Her mom had like a stroke when she was really young, so she was raised by her grandmother. So yeah, I mean, she was a great mom. She always tried her best, and especially now having a kid, it's like giving me such perspective on my parents, where like they were my age with 4 kids and a 5th on the way.
Could
it's
you
like,
imagine?
Yeah, I wonder why they yelled.
We're lucky that they weren't alcoholic and drug
Yeah,
addicts, and that we were
exactly.
all fed and washed.
Totally, yeah. My parents
right.
didn't even drink or smoke or anything. I think they both had enough of that in their houses growing up that they were very much against it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's insane. I mean, to have as many kids as they had right now, I'd be throwing a fit. I would probably disappear. I
Right.
think.
That's when the
I
father
think-
goes out. I'll go to get milk.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
go get milk.
And then you
they
go
never
to
come back.
Australia, and then I just do this exit now, and now you'd never know. No, I've never been to New Hampshire. Where's that? New Hampshire.
You'd have a kangaroo as a pet.
Oh yeah, of course. Me and Rue, we don't go anywhere without each other. Haven't for about 30 years.
In your dungarees.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God, that's
Oh my God, that's awesome.
golly. So did you guys get along? When did you, as siblings, boys?
For the most part, I mean, there was always moments where people hated each other, and then you'd have to kind of reconcile, or you'd just forget why you were mad at the person, and then grow up, and it's fine. We definitely had some bigger fights when we were getting older and stuff, but now we all get along, and there's no problems. Yeah. It's a lot of that stuff is just you're living in the same house with somebody.
I was going to say,
and
everyone's
it's
a different
crazy.
personality. I have a cousin
Everybody's
who has
in your
5
space.
kids.
Yeah, like there was definitely time. Like I used to snore when I was a kid, so and we always shared bedrooms. I've never had my own room my whole life because I went right from there to being with my wife. It's really funny. Yeah, but I would share a room with my older brother, and I would snore. So the number of times I would wake up to him just beating the crap out of me with a pillow or like smothering me and
So
just
you
being
couldn't
like,
breathe.
"Stop snoring!"
Yeah,
and I'm
see,
like,
I get that
can't."
rage. I get that rage.
Yeah, totally.
Literally. Some nights he would wake up in the morning like, you are so lucky to be alive. Man.
Yeah.
Well, that as you guys get older, you snored when you were young. Did you have a medical reason, like a deviated septum?
I just had a really big tonsils. So once
Okay.
I got my tonsils taken out, I didn't snore anymore, and I haven't had that problem since,
Yeah.
luckily. Or I probably wouldn't
Or your
have
wife
the
would
wife
be.
and child to talk about today.
She would have smothered you.
Yeah,
She would have got to.
exactly.
I'd be having my own bedroom right now.
Yeah, I will finally
For the first
have
time
my own room.
ever.
The prices you pay.
That is true. That is true.
There's a great thing on Instagram where it's like, I'm going to tape my husband's mouth shut when he snores at night. And then it just has the sound of like a rhesus monkey screaming in the back. And it's that her husband's still making the noise, but his mouth is just taped shut. There's no stopping the
There's
snoring
no
once it's
stopping,
happening.
Yeah.
No, it is not. It's not. It doesn't.
Oh.
So how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Yeah. We just kind of stayed home for the first time because with the new baby, we didn't want to go up to a place with everybody's got too many dogs now and too many kids running around with RSV and sicknesses. So we're like, stay here. If anyone wants to come over, come on over. So my parents came over with a full-on turkey dinner and hooked us up. And, we hung out there for a bit and then had some cousins and uncles and stuff come over and see the baby that hadn't seen her yet. And I think we got one more house to go to today that we'll go stop by and say hi to some people.
Nice.
But yeah, it's basically the tour day baby.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
now.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah.
wants to
And
see
now
her
no one
and-
talks to you. No one's interested in
they're
you
like,
at
great,
all.
saw it. Who cares? See you Christmas. Then see you next Christmas.
Yes. You're like, I got the gold medal, man. I got the trophy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a part of it.
Yep.
All right. So what's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
I'm more of a sucker for the day after leftover sandwich than I am for like one particular. If I had to pick one thing, it's probably a good mac and cheese. Like if somebody knows how to actually make a mac and cheese that's not dried and gross and got, everyone, there's always somebody that's like, I make a great mac and cheese.
I
and
know,
it's
and they
awful
never
and
do.
dry and it's got like just 4 pieces of Parmesan inside of it. And yeah.
Yes.
Or
It's like-
Gouda, and you're like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? What are you bringing Gouda
it's
into
like-
it for?
Exactly. It's like, it's just too much.
To me,
Are
I
you
think
French?
good mac and cheese has to have butter,
Yeah.
a little bit of sour cream,
Yeah.
definitely sharp cheddar,
Yeah.
Parmesan, and it has to have mozzarella in it.
Totally. So I like one with a little
Stringy.
bechamel sauce now. There's a restaurant that I live by in New York.
Yes.
They do like a bechamel sauce base and then mix in all the cheeses and then throw in the pasta and it's great.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So we're food people.
I'll
so
do mix it with like cream cheese, or sometimes if
Yeah.
I don't have like the sour cream, I do the cream cheese in it. It is creamy.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
I like to have the flavor of the cheese. I love to have. We grew up thinking. So we grew up in the South.
Yeah.
So my grandparents always had a country ham. So it's like a salt cured ham,
Mm-hmm.
and she would slice it thin and do these little tiny ham biscuits with butter, and that was probably my favorite. But I think in order for her to not have to peel so many potatoes, she did mac and cheese too, but she made the bomb mac and cheese in the cheddar, like it was almost crunchy on top, where she would just get that cheese kind of just almost crisps on a
Yeah.
couple of the noodles in there, and you just bite into it, and it's all gooey and
that's
it comes
awesome.
out. Oh yeah, that was my favorite.
Yeah, that's great.
I've never had a mac and cheese on Thanksgiving.
Oh gosh,
I've had like 3 different potatoes plus
Yeah,
stuffing, and so
right.
I'm more of the potato. I go in the potato direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
What's your go-to? Like, what's your favorite?
My sausage stuffing
Oh,
is
nice.
probably the most.
It-
I could
it
just
was-
eat that, nothing but that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
for
was
things.
really good.
That's awesome.
And I have a technique to make really moist turkey. So you know how everyone's always complaining that turkey's dry.
Yeah.
Well, you cook it the day before. You let it completely cool before you cut it, so all the juice stays in it. You cut it. Then the next day when you warm it up, you've strained, all of the juice that's going to make gravy.
Right.
But there's always a layer of fat on top.
Yeah.
And so you take that fat and you just put a thin layer on top of it when you heat it up, and the fat melts through and makes
that's awesome.
a moist bird. And that's my trick for turkey.
So if anybody
That's
wants
really
the trick
good.
for the turkey for next Thanksgiving, here it is.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so funny because when I was first dating my husband, so I had the Italian grandmother who cooked the turkey for 8 or 9 hours.
Wow.
We get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're eating at 3, and she's making turkey the whole time.
Right.
And I think they were always afraid that they were making the stuffing. Like, we want to make sure the stuffing's cooked. And
Yeah.
you're like, well, don't put it in the bird. Like,
Yeah.
just
Right.
eliminate.
Just
Like,
cook
what are you
it,
doing?
And then, yeah.
So her turkey was so horribly dry that I grew up thinking I didn't like turkey. I'm
Right.
22. I'm over my husband's house. They've got this beautiful turkey. They're all there, and he gives me the turkey, and I pass the platter, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't like turkey. He's like, what do you mean? Like, now he's like, I might break up with her.
Yeah,
Does she
right.
mean
What do
she
you mean
doesn't
you
like
don't like
turkey?
turkey? Yeah.
What's
It's
wrong
like
with her?
Calhoun's. You're
Yes.
Yeah.
It was had to pass the
That
turkey
was his
test.
Calhoun, the
test.
turkey test. Yeah.
Right. And so then we go, the first half of the day we're at his house. Then the second half of the day we go to my house because my turkey's not coming out till later in the afternoon.
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes to eat my grandmother's turkey, and he looks at me. He's like, I understand.
Yeah, that was me with a lot of foods growing up with my mom's cooking. It was
Yeah,
definitely-
she wasn't a great cook.
She tried her best, but with limited knowledge and resources, I thought I didn't like chicken or steak for most of my life. Yeah.
And you're like, no, that was me with mushrooms. I had only ever had canned mushrooms.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you go out in restaurants going, don't give me any mushrooms. And then
Totally.
you finally have at a Japanese restaurant, you have lobster ravioli with mushrooms.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten.
Totally.
How do
totally.
That's why I tell people, no matter how old you are, keep trying something that you think you don't like.
Yeah.
Because someone could make it in a way that you actually like it.
Absolutely. That opened my mind a lot, was working at that restaurant in Lowell. Like, it was in the UMass Lowell and Conference Center, but they put like a 4-star restaurant. Like, this guy came from like the Andover Inn, which is like a really nice restaurant, and like was cooking there. So they were trying to appeal to like the theater people. And I was such a picky eater before I started working there. And then once I had an actual chef that was like, I was like, I don't like seafood. He's like, just eat this swordfish. And I was like, I've never had swordfish. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, it opened my world
Yeah.
of just trying all sorts of new different flavors. And I was like, I don't know if I don't like that yet. Like, let me try
I know
it,
I don't
you
like my mother's version
Yeah,
of it.
exactly. I know I don't like it when I do it. But yeah, let me try the guy who maybe like this is his profession. Maybe
Yes.
he's really good at
Yeah.
cooking Indian food, is the guy that does
Right.
it professionally. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up at McDonald's, so when you come off of that very chemical, we ate Doritos and
Yeah, of course. That was the whole life.
you have
yeah.
such a chemical flavor that if the potato's not sour cream and onion, like, what is this?
Yes.
Yeah, right,
'Cause
right.
you
Why didn't it blast me in the face with a concentrate?
Why isn't my
That's-
nose running? My nose should run
Right.
when I eat this.
Yeah, why my eyes
No.
aren't watering? I'm not gasping for air because my mouth is so dry. Yeah. Yeah, no,
yes.
totally. And that's why I've really been falling in love with cooking as of late too. Just getting used to just the different techniques and just showing like just going through the whole process of making something and giving it to somebody is like really been fun and rewarding. I've really liked that.
What's
And-
the favorite? What's your favorite thing to make?
I mean, I like to cook a steak. Like, I've been really getting into making sure the sear is right and butter basting it and having a nice like a broccoli side and just doing different stuff with that. And yeah, it's been fun to just kind of play around with different things.
So have you discovered roasting?
Roasting now.
Like roasting vegetables?
Oh yeah, just roasting vegetables. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I do all my vegetables.
Okay.
Is I just salt, pepper, olive oil, or maybe something else, and then throw them in a baking sheet and get them crisped up. And then sometimes now I've seen some videos where they'll put like some cheese down and like mash like a broccoli into it and then bake those, and you
Yep.
have almost these like chips that with the broccoli in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
Nutritional yeast is another one that people are using with that's what I wanted to do with the Brussels sprout yesterday, but I didn't have nutritional yeast. I actually picked it up and it was from 2019. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
we're not having nutritional yeast. We'll just use tons of Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, I want to learn more about cooking because like when you try and cook and you don't know how to cook, I
Yeah.
feel like I run my kitchen like a Michelin star restaurant because I don't know what's good or bad. I'm like, this tomato is not it's gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm running it with the highest food standards for no reason. That I'm like, I need to know what is actually good and what is wrong, and is this meat good, or I'm like, am I just being like, no, throw out the spinach again?
So I will tell you that I come from the McDonald's, we ate Chinese food, Mexican food, pizza.
Yeah.
You know, on a rotating thing, and we just ate out because I grew up in Somerville, and there was a.
I think you just
restaurant
hit
in the
all
corners.
all the types of restaurants there is in New England. I
Yeah.
think we are so restaurant deprived
Totally.
as far as the rest of the world.
But
like,
if you go to the rest of the country, what they're deprived of is what we have here. They
Yes.
have no local Chinese food place, no
Yes.
local sub pizza places. It's all
Yes.
Domino's
Yeah.
and,
Yep.
and Panda Express and
Yeah,
stuff
and a
like
real
that.
sub, like with real homemade bread with like shredded lettuce.
Yeah.
And, you know, when making a really good sub, that's a skill. You just can't, you know.
Yeah, if you
Subway
leave the
is not-
Northeast, if you go
yeah.
south of New Jersey, that all disappears. It's
Yeah.
all just Jimmy John's
Yeah.
as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the chains and stuff.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't. So if for when I was first getting into it, I actually read the Culinary Institute of America's book because
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to know what they're teaching. Like, what are they? Because I'm a book person. So when you said choose your own adventure series, I was like, I had all 80.
Yeah.
that was my childhood, you know. But so I read it, and it's like hot food hot, cold food cold, right?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to put tomatoes in the fridge because they'll lose tomato flavor.
Okay.
But if you leave them on the counter, they go rotten in 3 days in New England. So you have to like.
Yeah, it's like cook your tomatoes day of.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
certain food you eat in a certain order. Like when you buy raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, you eat the raspberries first because they're not making it till the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you know
Right.
blueberries last the
Right,
longest,
right.
strawberries are the second. So you have to like that's all stuff that you only know by doing it.
Totally.
And
yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy this and just throw it into the trash directly next time
Yep,
because
yep.
I put it in my fridge and now it's a biology experiment.
Totally.
Yeah.
But that's been the fun thing about living in New York City is like there's a 24-hour grocery store that's
Oh,
right off
yeah.
the train that's right next to my
Yeah.
apartment. So if I want to just go make a meal, I can just go get the exact ingredients I want that I need that day and then just
Mm-hmm.
go make it and not have to do these like big grocery shops where I'm like throwing out half my food for no
Yes.
reason.
Yes.
Yes.
you know?
All right.
It's like,
Perfect.
oh, I did buy yogurt. And now there's 4 yogurts in the back of the fridge that I know got shoved in the back. And yeah.
Yeah, behind the pickles that we
Yeah,
never use.
exactly. Yeah.
And it was funny because I was making room for my Thanksgiving because we had 13 people over and I cook and then I have leftovers.
Yeah,
so I do
yeah.
2 birds. I started cooking on Tuesday. That's
Wow.
how the whole thing
Yeah.
happens. And so I kept pulling things out like, really? I haven't had these, you know,
Totally.
olives since whenever, you know, and
Yeah,
I'm throwing
that one
everything
time
away.
you made that salad with a berry dressing, and now there's a berry vinaigrette in your
Get
fridge
rid of
from
that. Yes.
2008.
And I'm like, throw all this trash away. He's like, I
and
need
you
the
feel like
hefty
you've
bag.
accomplished something when you get rid of stuff out of your, you know.
Yeah, totally.
It's wasteful as I don't know what, because, but I'm like, I'm not
Yeah, I
gonna
paid
eat this.
$9 for those
Dude, I
olives.
just made some room.
For me, I realize exactly how little food I have on hand when I do that. I'm like, I always open the fridge. I'm like, there's nothing really here, and then you close it. You're like, it's a full fridge. Then
I
you
know.
clean it out. You're
Yes.
like, oh yeah, that's why it feels like there's nothing in here. It's because there's nothing to eat in here.
Yes.
It was all just
There's
garbage and old
condiments.
food.
It's like, oh, now I have space. I can start again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know why nobody in my family really is big on leftovers, and we always have leftovers.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
actually, they're really good.
yeah,
I
they
mean,
usually are.
They're really
Yeah.
good.
There's
but
certain food I will do leftover. 'Cause
Spaghetti
certain
is
food is
good.
better the next day.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
there's certain food that I have at once and that's it. I
Well,
can't.
and the air fryer has been a real game changer when it comes to the
That is
leftover
true.
game.
Mm.
Like you used to not be able to get a French fry was done the
Yes.
second it's over. Now it's got a whole
Yes.
new life, lease on life. I mean, it's a
Really?
beautiful thing.
Mm.
Yes.
I might have to try that because I won't even eat, say I'm having McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or something. I can't even wait to eat my sandwich till all the fries are gone
Yeah.
because the fries will be terrible by
They'll
the
be
time
gone.
the sandwich is done.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh no, air fryer for just a few minutes, and they're like brand new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
Everything.
sure.
Everything in the air fryer.
I have a.
They're gonna be in the house like installed instead of microwaves. So
Yeah,
it's gonna,
I
they're
love
gonna
I've
do
never
everything.
done raw. I've never done like raw meat in the air fryer.
I
Like,
haven't
some people
tried
say
that
they
yet,
do
but-
raw like chicken nuggets and stuff. I'm like, how do you get them crispy?
I've seen people do it with like full chicken breasts, and they'll just put it in there with seasonings and stuff. It's crazy, yeah. But I mean, you still cook it for like 20 minutes, like as long as you would fry
Yeah.
something normally. But yeah. I haven't
I
tried
don't
like
know
a
how
raw
you
meat
get like
thing. I
the
do
breading
frozen.
good. Like, how do you get the breading crispy?
See, that was my concern when people were getting them. I'm like, how do I clean this tiny baby basket?
Yeah.
Because I'm reading the CIA cookbook. You know, I'm a clean freak. I,
Yeah.
bleach my sink before and after I prepare food in it because the
Oh,
sink
you're
is
ready to
disgusting.
commit a crime at any
Oh,
time.
yeah, I'm
that's
ready.
good.
Absolutely.
People are
I
gonna be like,
got you.
her apartment was criminally, it was professionally scrubbed. It was.
Yeah, they come in and they're like, why is there bleach here? I cooked a turkey.
I believe in getting rid of trace
Or you killed a
evidence.
body.
Right. Right.
One or the other.
You're going to need a warrant for the rest of the house.
Yeah.
The
Kitchen, we're
kitchen's
good.
clean.
But we're good. Kitchen's good. Yes.
Yeah, so it's good that you're learning to cook. So do you cook for your wife?
Yeah. My wife cooked for me a lot, and then when she got pregnant, and then when she got uncomfortably pregnant, it was a lot more of me doing it. And now that I love doing it. I just wake up and cook some breakfast or cook something later in the day, and yeah, it's just fun. Yeah,
Well,
and
wait till
we
you start
started with
feeding
like
kids.
what's really good to get people started on it too is just like one of those things like HelloFresh or something like, and this isn't an
Oh, that's
ad,
actually a great
but
idea.
But those things are awesome because they give you step-by-step instructions on how to cut the vegetable, how to roast the vegetable, how to cook the protein, what temperature you're supposed to do it at, what it should look like at the end, how to make the sauce, and it makes it all really super easy.
Yeah.
Because they give you the exact ingredients you need. So, if you want to make like
you don't even have to measure.
breadcrumb breasted Parmesan chicken breast and vegetables and this that are all seasoned. You don't have to go get a $12 thing of cumin that you're going to use never again.
Yes.
That you're going to throw out next Thanksgiving
Yeah.
or 12 Thanksgivings from now.
When you actually clean out your
yeah,
fridge.
exactly. Let alone the spice cabinet. That's a whole nother day.
You're like, paid a lot of money for that. I'm not getting rid of that.
I think I have confectionery sugar from like 3 presidents ago.
It's a brick. They're going to throw that thing away.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I will say that I started, like, if I buy an ingredient, now I'm looking up 16 other recipes to figure out how do I use this ingredient.
Yeah, totally.
Because food's expensive.
It is, yeah.
Cooking
Especially
at home,
now,
you're like, should I just go out to eat because I spent $37 to do this one thing? And it's like, now I have all these ingredients in my house. Now
I'm like, I could have just got a pizza for $11 and I would have
and been
fine.
happy and just watch TV, play a video game.
And it would have been delivered right to my door.
But yeah, I want to get better about like kind of planning the week and getting things organized. And
but if you live next to the 24-hour market, you don't have to deal with that.
Totally, it makes it a lot better. But yeah, at least for while I'm here for about the next month or so. I want to have at least a bit of a system. And the good thing is I got a Costco in both places, so things are looking good.
Well, that's when you learn to make stuffed peppers. You're like, I have 19 peppers that cost $6.99, or I go to Hannaford and one pepper is $7, so I get 19 peppers. But what do I do with peppers?
Yeah, exactly.
Stuffed peppers is what you do with peppers.
Yeah, we're doing stir fries. We're doing everything.
Fajitas. You do fajitas. Costco, I don't know if it's all Costco's, but the Costco up here has prime red meat, prime steaks.
Oh, yeah.
Prime ribeyes. And they are better than some of the butchers that we've been to, the local butcher shops.
Yeah.
And now Market Basket has like just a very skinny little section of the prime. Like once you taste like, to me, I think once you've tasted prime versus choice,
totally,
it's a game
It's
changer.
like, what do we feed that to the dog?
Yes.
We do not want
it.
it.
And you can get steak out anywhere because we do it at home so much better.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I love. I'm like, I used to have to go to a restaurant. Now I can just season a steak and know how to get a good sear on it and make it taste good. And the Costco steaks are great because I'll just buy like a rack of those, freeze them, cook one that night, or half the time I slice them in half horizontally because they're like 2.5 inches thick, and I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need to cook this for a day and a half.
Yes, they've got some prime ribeyes there, and he likes his thick, but I don't like mine, so he'll have the butcher just and then we take them home. We take them home and use the air vacuum.
Oh, nice.
What's it called? The air sealer.
Yeah.
It literally, they'll stay for like 3 or 4 weeks
Don't
in
put
the
your hand in
refrigerator.
Forever, yeah.
The same pinkness, like, so we don't ever freeze our meat anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm like, you just air seal it, and
then
then
it'll stay in the fridge.
It stays in the fridge.
That's great.
I was like, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
And a guy came up and he was telling my husband how to do it, and they have all the markers on it, like the date and by when, and he's like, trust me. I'm like, okay. It is literally as red as it was the day you bought it.
Wow.
I was like,
I gotta get one of those. I gotta get a vacuum sealer.
Oh my God, it's so worth it.
Yeah. Especially with the Costco, because you just end up buying everything in bulk. So it's like,
yes,
I can't. What am I going to do with this many chicken thighs?
I think they're like
There's
$30.
Like 7 chickens on this tray right now.
It's like $30, and you don't even have to buy the bags. Like, it comes with a ton of bags with it. But we just use we either use like the Ziploc bags, and then you can just go over like a little bit lower.
Nice. Okay, perfect.
We'll be back.
We'll be back at the top of the hour.
All right.
Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.live.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Black Friday is here. Shoppers are spending, but not recklessly, says Best Buy CEO Corey Barry.
Definitely consumers are making trade-offs. When the price of the basics is a little bit higher, they might be having looking for more of a value play for their consumer electronics. And so we're trying to make sure we have something.
2 children and a woman crushed to death today as a crowd of Palestinians pushed to get bread at a bakery in the Gaza Strip amid a worsening food crisis there. Syrian jihadist rebels have breached Aleppo in a surprise offensive. The attack reignites Syria's front line for the first time in years. The top House Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, says several members of his caucus have been targeted with fake threats of pipe bombs placed in mailboxes, messages signed MAGA. A preview of the restored Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris during a visit from French President Emmanuel Macron, showing brilliant light stone, new gilded accents, restored stained glass windows, opens to visitors December 8th. This is ABC News.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's enhanced network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. For you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28 in-store.